nationalism, transracialism. I think this might be both in this case, to be honest. So, I mean, we all remember Rachel Dolezal, the lady who was like, I'm black, but you're clearly white, or
Sean King,
or Talcum X. And you've got those two, but this is on a new level. So, this person here, Oli London, called himself. So he posted this. This is my new official flag for being a non-binary person who identifies as Korean. Thank you for the overwhelming support. It was so hard for me to come out as them, they, core, Ian. The core being a pronoun and the Ian being a pronoun there.
I mean, this seems like a massive troll.
Yeah, I mean, any other day I would have said this is clearly just some guy taking fun at identity politics being a dumpster fire.
Yes.
And for people who are listening, it's the Korean flag, but with the red parts and the black parts changed out for the pride flag, in a weird way.
It's very progressive.
Yeah, hyper progressive. So there's that. There's also like the little like trans icon there or non-binary icon. I don't even know because who knows at this point. But then there's the response to this. So you have Ben Shapiro responding with "Live your truth, Ollie." A lot of people were just retweeting this, like, go for it, mate. Like, obviously taking the mickey, assuming, I presume, that he was also taking the mickey, which, yeah, doesn't seem to be. So let's go to the next one here, and this is him. Not looking great. Him saying, my transition story and how I became Korean, and then there's a video of him explaining how he got plastic surgery to look Korean.
I've seen what Koreans look like.
Yeah, so you might be thinking, WTF, like, this has to be a troll. Well, if it is a troll, it's a very clever troll. That's the thing. Like,
It's a very committed troll if you're going to go through surgery.
So it's not just that. Like, if you go on his channel, you can go back to so if we go to the next link here, there's like 2 years of him being a Korea boo, in which he's just really grossly obsessed with South Korea.
Right.
And, what would you call it, the music culture they have there. What is it, K-pop?
Yep.
All that stuff?
Yep.
Which is cringe.
Officially condemned by North Korea.
So this gets cringier and cringier as you go on. So we go to the next one. There's a video of him in really, I don't know, just buying 5,000 copies of some K-pop magazine to show his love for some K-pop star, I presume, called Jimin. I don't bloody know. And
Callum only knows about North Korea.
Yeah, I don't know about the Yankee colony to the south. But the other thing on my mind is just like, man, being rich is a curse, isn't it? Like, look at that. Like, buying 5,000 copies of some K-pop magazine. I mean, you know, normal people can't do this. You have to be a creep to do this. Anyway, so let's go to the next one.
Got 18,000 views as well.
Yeah, everything's getting downvoted. You can see that. This is the next one, which is really weird. Him saying Happy Ramadan in Arabic. I don't speak much Arabic, but that was bad Arabic in this video, and it came off, again, really cringe, and everything, as you can see, is mass disliked. And then there's the next video, in which was a couple of days ago, in which he came out as non-binary, Korean. With a mask on, sunglasses and a hat, so you couldn't see his face.
I can't believe people are downvoting this. This is hilarious.
And of course, mass downvotes, and people just be like, come on, this has to be a troll. This has to be a troll.
Yeah, well, that's the reason to upvote it.
And then the next one, he cuts up his face. He does the surgery.
Right.
Like, now he's got his mask and whatnot off, and you can see his face, as earlier. I don't think he's joking. I really wish he was joking. But he explains in this video his position for doing it. And I must credit him for his almost flawless logic in the progressive world. There is one flaw, but we'll get to it. So we go to the first clip. This is they explaining their transition. I think I've got the pronouns right.
Sure.
Hey guys, I just want to take this chance to, come out today. Something that's been on my mind for a long time, and I've been very confused about how I identify. I've been very, very confused. And, I've seen a lot of other people online that have come out and been very brave about it and shared their story about how they identify, their gender, their pronouns, etc. So, I've taken courage from these incredibly brave people, and it is Pride Month at the moment. So, I thought this was the best time to do it. So I am going to come out today and say that I've been transitioning. I've been very unhappy with who I am deep down for the last 8 years, and I've had 18 plastic surgeries now, and I've just had a facelift, a brow lift, a temple lift, an eye surgery, a canthoplasty, and my teeth done as well. These are just part of my transition. For the first time in my life, I feel beautiful. I'm looking in the mirror and I love the way I look and feel happy. And I hope people can respect my decision. It's a very tough decision to come out this way, but I am coming out as non-binary. I don't feel I identify as male or female. I just feel like I'm just in the middle. And my pronouns are they, them, Korean, Jimin, because I know a lot of people don't understand me, but I do identify as Korean. and I do look Korean now. I do feel Korean. I don't identify as British, so please don't refer to me, any media or anyone online, as British, because I identify as Korean. That's just my culture. That's my home country. That's exactly how I look now. And I also identify as Jimin. That's my Korean name. No.
So many things. So many things to say. I don't know
And
how
none
many.
of them were allowed to put on the internet.
I mean, interesting points. I mean, his intersectional logic, faultless. Faultless to a T. And they've got nothing about it. The only failure is that he says, if you make an article about this, or so on and so forth, you don't call him British. I went to his website. First line about Oli. Oli London is a British reality TV personality and K-pop singer. Okay, yeah, so, I mean, he's dead naming him himself.
Need to update that website, mate.
I'm assuming calling yourself British is like the transnational version of dead naming. So you need to update your own website there. But, I mean, small oversight. But interesting points being raised by him. I love the fact that he says, I now look Korean, therefore I'm Korean. Ain't that interesting?
I don't know if I'm allowed to make any comments about this.
Some of the other points I picked up on, I have a friend who used to date a Korean girl, and in South Korea, they think plastic surgery apparently is just a normal thing to do.
Yeah.
The same way of getting your eyes plugged. And he fell out with his girlfriend over this because she went out and got like plastic surgery, and he was like, what the heck? I didn't want this.
Well,
and
my
now you look
sister,
weird.
my sister spent a few years teaching in South Korea, actually, and she said that one of the interesting things they do is get surgery to give themselves double eyelids, like
Because
the
they want to look
Westerners.
Western
Yeah.
style, and he's done the opposite.
But he hasn't. Has he got the eyelids done? I can't tell. I mean, maybe they
I
look
think
quite
so.
inflamed. Yeah,
But they're also not like Western eyelids anymore, I would
I
say.
suppose not.
But I mean, it's never going to be perfect because never is.
But I mean, when he says I was very confused about my identity, I agree.
Has
And-
that got him better? Or worse?
But the question is, who did this to you? Like, it's not normal for someone who looks like they're about 20 years old to actually be confused about their identity. Normally, you have a fairly strong sense of self-identity. Even as a child, you know who you are. Like, you know, for a 20-year-old to be like, I don't know what I am. Okay, well, who did that to you?
So we'll go for the next clip in which he says, please no bully, essentially.
It's a little bit confusing for some people. Nobody's ever come out as Jimin or Korean, but this is something that you guys know if you've followed my journey for the last 8 years. I've really struggled with identity issues, with who I am, you know, with who I am. It's a very tough one. So I've finally had the courage. I've undergone my racial transitional surgery. You know, I've transitioned to a non-binary person. They, them, Korean, Jimin. But I just want to say to people, you know, I get so many cruel comments online. I just want people to be able to respect my decision and don't be, you know, non-binary phobic or anything. Just please respect that this is how I feel. I've been very trapped in my body for so long, and, you know, I identify with the Korean culture. I've lived in Korea. I speak the language. I have the Korean look now. I look completely Korean. If you didn't know who I was, you would just think I was a Korean person. Not a man or a woman, just a person.
That's. Oh God, I'm getting visions of colonial stereotypes about the Western view of the Asian men who can't grow beards, and Korea, they don't have gender in Korea, they just have persons. There's no man or women in Korea. It's just I'm not. They're all non-binary out in the Orient, I hear, according to Oli.
The other thing that's in my mind is the pronouns. So we're all familiar with the new gender of look at me that is non-binary.
Yeah.
Just please give me attention. And they them, which are not pronouns for an individual but for a group. So that's why it sounds so weird when you say they is sad. And then you have the point that he's like, yeah, because I'm Korean, my pronouns are Korean Jimin. How does that even work?
I don't know.
Like, you know how you say he is sad? You know, Korean is sad when you're speaking about him, as if he's the true Korean. I mean, in the same way that trans women are the real women, unlike actual women who are cis. You know, there's a subcategory for them. Are we able to do this with the same thing here?
I hope so, because this is actually fantastic.
This is the one true Korean, folks.
No. But this is something that we love and respect and defend transracialism on this podcast. We think that transracial kids are just as valid as cis racial kids, and we hope. Sorry, did Ollie change their name? Jimin, is it?
I don't know.
I'm not sure if Jimin is actually
Well,
a new name.
He said his Korean name is Jimin now.
Okay, well then Jimin, we wish Jimin all the best, and we recognise that they look exactly like a regular Korean person. They all just look like people, and yeah, we totally support this through intersectional logic.
And I want to see the progressives' position on this.
Yes,
Because
if
I've
you-
seen Ben Shapiro retweeting this.
Yep.
I've seen, I can't remember the guy who used to grow up in Saudi Arabia. I can't remember his name. We interviewed him. Zubi.
Oh, Zubi, yeah.
Yeah, him retweeting this, being like, all love. I hope
Stunning and brave.
Stunning and brave. And I want to see the progressives retweeting this. I wonder what their takes are
Yeah.
on the whole thing.
How could they possibly tell him he's wrong?
So I'll go for the last clip here, in which he says, I'm sure there are other transnationals out there, and I'm standing up for
Sure
them.
are.
And also, I mean, as we thought, and as you might have thought, this looks a bit like a troll, and this looks a bit like seeking for attention, but no one goes through this many plastic surgeries for a meme, surely.
I can't believe that it is a troll at this point.
So let's play the last clip.
No one's done this before, but I just want to take the brave step to, do this, because I'm sure there's many other young people out there that do identify as Korean or maybe as Japanese, and they don't have the strength or courage, or they don't know the words how to express this, and it's a very, very tough thing. People online, like YouTubers, they always say, oh, he does things for attention. Like, nobody would do this for attention. Nobody would go through this much pain, this much suffering. I've had 18 surgeries in total for the last 8 years. Nobody would do that to themselves for attention. Like, I'm doing this because it's how I identify, it's how I feel. So I just want people to please be respectful in the comments. Please be respectful online. As I said, I'm non-binary now, so I can be addressed as they, them, Korean, or Jimin. So they/them/Jimin/Korean, or Ko/Ian, Korean.
Doesn't make any sense, but okay.
No, that's fine.
Sorry, you can't cut up the word Korean into two separate parts, and then those are the two pronouns. That doesn't make sense. Like, even if I'm agreeing with everything else he's proposing.
Yeah, there's been a lot of sense up until that point. And it's like, wait a minute, I've got questions.
Wait, hang on. You can't cut the word Korean into it, but you can plastic surgery your face into becoming a different race/ethnicity. That's true.
No,
And
we
he's,
love transracials on this podcast.
Not he. They is keeping up with the bit. So if we go to, it makes you sound like those Pigeon articles from BBC Pigeon talking like this. So if you go to his Twitter here, you can see another one of his #trust the science, and then like a praying emoji, Korean, and then a DNA emoji.
Yes.
Science.
Yes, much science.
But if we have accepted that science is teaching us that we must be able to chop off our genitals and then claim that we are the other sex,
Well, the
he's not
logic
wrong.
is pristine.
it
in
is
fact.
pristine.
It is completely congruent, and just
Oh,
because
look at this
there
racist.
might be some anti-trans racist activist in the comments who has a transgender flag in their background saying science doesn't back changing your race, then that unfortunately would roll back quite a lot of other progressive achievements. So I'm afraid science has to back changing your race if it's going to back changing any other immutable characteristics.
You also say trans flag. That's the conservative trans flag, not the new one. So.
Yeah, you bloody conservatives.
But there's some other posts from him that are a bit like, come on, is this a meme? I don't even know. But I'm edging towards no after looking at all of his video content for the last few years, and also the surgeries. Him tweeting out "War on woke" in all caps for some
Okay,
reason.
sounds good. Yeah.
And then the next one here is also strange. Trans rights are human rights.
Yes, they are.
I support all the LGBTQI plus K/J community.
Me too.
And
Korean / Jimin. Obviously. Who doesn't?
And believe everyone should be able to be who they want to be, and then a bunch of emojis.
That's right.
#LGBTQ.
I always identified as 6'5".
And then another racist in the comments there. You can't just add Korean and Jin to the LGBTQ martyrs.
No,
It's
I
offensive.
think you're wrong. And we'll
Yeah.
get onto that in a minute, in fact.
Damn racists. So
Transracial phobes? What the
There's
hell's
the-
wrong with you people?
there's also the next one, which is a bit strange. Like, I don't know what's going up. There's another video of him in a bandage and then in like a doctor's surgery, I guess. Something like that. And then him posting real eyes, realize, real lies, 666. #Oli London, #Korean, #transracial.
Right. So I'm just saying that perhaps people with mental illnesses shouldn't be allowed on the internet.
It's very transphobic of you.
But also,
But that's where this logic leaves you.
yes, also we do support transracial Korean kids. So
No, not my kids. Anyway, so if we go to the next one here, I mean, this is an academic debate that's been going on a long time. Obviously, Rachel Dolezal, Talcum X being the prime examples, and transracialism is what became known as America.
The Hypatia transracialism scandal.
Because for Americans, I mean, only one nationality exists, American. That's it. So all the divides are along racial lines. So can a black person become white? Can a white person become black? And the debate was tough because the intersectionals don't know how to counter it at all. But the national part as well, I think, is really interesting. The idea that you can become Korean by looking Korean, and that's it. Like, you just plastic surgery your face until you're that group.
That's how it works to become a woman.
If I want to become
So
Italian.
literally,
Stop bathing in olive oil.
that's literally how their logic works. So you couldn't deny being a progressive.
So this is an academic article talking about this a while back. So you can see here,
2017,
in defense of transracialism, former NAACP chapter head Rachel Dolezal's attempt transition from white to the black race accosted heated controversy. Her story gained notoriety at the same time that Caitlyn Jenner graced the cover of Vanity Fair, signaling a growing acceptance of transgender identity. Yet criticism of Dolezal for misrepresenting her birth race, unlike her birth sex, indicate a widespread social perception that is neither possible nor acceptable to change one's race in the way it might be for changing one's sex. What the fuck is birth race?
Well, the race that they were born, in the same way as the sex that they were born.
It's the newspeak involved to talk like a progressive is unbelievable.
I know.
Considerations that support transgenderism seem to apply equally to transracialism. Although Dolezal herself may or may not represent a genuine case of transracialism, it's pretty racist of you to ask, it's genuine, her story and the public reaction to it serve as a helpful illustrative purposes. So, someone trying to defend this because they're like, well, I mean, it does fit our logic.
Yeah, they
kinda screwed.
can't they can't deny it. If an arbitrary intrinsic characteristic can just be externally modified to resemble something of another group's arbitrary intrinsic characteristics, then, as in the case of transgenderism, and they have to be accepted as that gender, then
put up against the wall.
Or how does that not apply to race? And of course, the answer is it does, and that's why they had to write this, saying, well, look, we're kind of stuck in this position.
The only defense the author had there was, well, Rachel Dolezal is not legitimate.
Well, yeah,
Who you
because she
could
could be
say.
a troll, but obviously she wasn't a troll either.
I don't think Jamin is, though.
No, I think
I think
these are
Jamin's
people
pretty
who,
bloody serious.
I think Dolezal is. I think they're people with genuine cases of like real identity confusion. And again, the answer is the question is who did this to you? Anyway,
Is that something we should just normalize, or is that something that needs medical treatment?
normalize asking who did this to you. Who put these ideas in your head?
So we go to the next one here. This is the response to that from the progressives trying to reason themselves out of it. And again, it just looked like a panic. So against transracialism, revisiting the debate. This article critically reflects on some of the themes and assumptions at stake in the transracialism controversy and connects them to important works in critical race theory. It argues that the analytical account of race that Tuvel draws upon in her article, Sally Hagenslyers, is problematic, politically problematic. It's
I
not
agree.
much. It's not much of a rebuttal, is it? Just it's politically problematic, both on its own terms and in the light of broader reflections on racialized and gendered power relations. So it's politically problematic.
Hugely problematic because what it implies is that you can simply identify out of your race and therefore, or you could identify into another race and therefore a bunch of white people could say, hey, we're black and we're being oppressed. Where's our reparations?
But it's not a rebuttal.
No, it's not a rebuttal. They're just saying, well, look, it's problematic because here is the problem.
Because our ideology is corrupt and there's no way of pushing back. I critique Hanslager's assumption that all racial identities exist on the same conceptual plane.
Oh, that's brilliant. Right, so some racial identities are racial identities and others aren't racial identities. Oh, good job.
That a single variable definition of a race can be applied to a particular racialized group, including white and non-white racial identities.
So we've arrived at special pleading. Oh, this doesn't count because they're white.
They're not proper
That's it.
racial identities, unlike the whites who are racial. I don't know. This erases racialized power relations, especially where in liberal multicultural nations, whiteness constitutes the implied standard against which an appearance of a racial difference is conjured.
define whiteness?
There's no argument there, though.
No.
Like, she's just like, yeah, but I mean, becoming black isn't just being a different race, it's being discriminated against. And it's like, yeah, but if the person has become black, why would they not be discriminated against? Because, of course, they look exactly like a black person. Because that's how this works. Change one thing, you would never know the difference. Trust me. I'll just be honest, racial dolls does actually look browner than...
All this is special
Kamala Harris.
pleading. They're just saying, well, no, look, it doesn't count for us. It's like...
In case you think all of this is completely doomed, nah, it's not doomed. I mean, as this account demonstrates, Leicester Hospitals, NHS, verified account. When Jacob learned that he was pregnant, he knew he wanted to give birth at home. And then there's a picture of a woman with a beard giving birth to a child, and then they're cutting the umbilical cord.
Well, to be honest with you, the last time I was pulled over by the police, I realised it was because I was black. I knew it. I just knew it. The police were arresting me because I was a black man, and I was like, oh, God.
So
Will
no,
the oppression never end?
I look forward to transracialism and transnationalism. What do you even call it? Transnationalism is completely legitimate, and there is no way of the progressives countering it. And in case you think this isn't going to be accepted in culture, why the hell is this being accepted? Come on, like this was a meme. Even Ricky Gervais called this a meme in his podcast with Carl Pilkington. Like, I think I remember an interview he did in which he was just like, I watched some program on TV last night, and they said it was a woman having a baby. It was just a bloke with a beard having a man having a baby. It was a woman with a beard having a baby. It's exactly what that is, and that you have a hospital conforming to this.
Yes,
People with medical professionals bowing down. And in case you think that this is all nonsense, well, that's why everyone should support people like Posey Parker, especially in the UK, which we did a premium interview with on lotuses.com, so go and give that a check out. She's fantastic. And, I mean, could you prove her more right? There is no way. I mean, she's just fundamentally, what is a woman, an adult human female, and if you don't accept that, and it's self-ID, we're going to end up with complete nonsense. Well, Jimin has something to say about this.
Notice that Jimin isn't making a distinction between North and South Korea, right? So it is racial transitioning. It's not national transitioning. They're not saying I'm a South Korean, although they're obviously into South Korean culture, but they're just calling it Korean. So they are speaking of the race.
North Koreans would have a different opinion on this.
Oh, sure they would. I have no doubt whatsoever that they'd have a different opinion. If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 PM UK time on lotuseaters.com.